Hello. You can take any clicker, any microphone, and please just keep an eye on your timer.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'd like to thank BevNet and Caroline Craven, as well as Grace. And I'm going to forget the name.
We go by the Taylor.
You have the same name, Taylor.
Yes, it's
Yes, Taylor. Thank you for being with us today. Bottle service started with a simple question. Nathan Oliver, whose signatures on all of our bottles, he was a bartender of 13 years here in Los Angeles, came to me and said, why can't I get a drink in a bottle as good as I make in my bars? And I was like, I would hope you can answer that better than I. And he couldn't. And at the time, there was only Mike's Hard Liquor, Smirnoff Ice, and Skinny Girl in the marketplace. And so he was right. There wasn't very many good products in the market. And so we sent Nate out to Kentucky to work on exactly what he suggested. Bar quality cocktails that had using bar ingredients and that had no additives, preservatives, no artificial flavors or colors. While he worked on the cocktails, I worked on the packaging. And a year later, bottle service was born. And we hit the mark that we asked for. All of our products are bar quality. We use ingredients from behind the bar, like Harpano Antica Sweet Vermouth in our Manhattan and our Negroni. We use Campari in our Negroni. We use Lustau Brandy, Park Cognac. We use Dolan Dry Vermouth in our Martini. None of them have additives, preservatives, no artificial colors or flavors, and all ended up being gluten-free as well. So with that in mind and with our packaging, we also feel like we cater to two very different audiences. One is a more mature, sophisticated adult who harks back to the 60s classics and is looking to have a nightcap or an after-dinner drink, but we also feel we reach the younger audience of millennials and Gen Zers who like small batch artisan and craft. And both of these groups care about quality, and they're both willing to spend a little bit more to get it. But we were also concerned about consumers not being educated about a quality cocktail in a bottle at the time. So we looked for alternative platforms, and we landed on the travel industry. We saw hundreds of millions of people on planes, on trains, on ships, as well as in rooms that had minibars. And so these were people who were captive, but didn't have the opportunity to make a cocktail. They didn't have the ingredients, the tools, the time, the energy, or even the know-how. So we felt that convenience could help us overcome the trust issue. And lo and behold, we did extremely well. We got into a myriad of hotels, including all the Four Seasons. American Airlines came to us, and we became their bar program and their bartender list, first in business class lounges. We then started getting into concessions, where there was a quick turnaround time, consistent taste, fixed cost to your bottom dollar. And we got into Madison Square Garden, the Met, the Guggenheim, Radio City Music Hall, the Barclays Arena. And then COVID came. And everything we built went to zero. But we got lucky that 6 months prior to COVID, we started our retail footprint. And we got into a bunch of independent retail stores, and we also got into our first supermarket chain, which was Bristol Farms. In addition, 6 months prior, we started our own direct-to-consumer platform. And that kept us afloat, because during COVID, our retail spiked 1,000%, which allowed us to continue. But we had to ask ourselves after that, who are we? 1,500 to 2,000 new entrants came into the marketplace, from the cans to the spirit bases. And so who is bottle service today? Well, we landed right back to where we started from, which is the highest quality product in the market. We truly believe that through the ingredients we use in the taste, as well as Nate's profiles and his recipes, we have the most perfectly balanced cocktails in a bottle. And so that is who we are today. We believe retailers need to consider that RTDs are here to stay, and that there are three consumers to consider: price conscious, value conscious, and quality conscious. And we trust that they're going to approach it the same way they approach the beer, the wine, and other spirits, which is have products that cater to each of these groups. You have Kettle One and Absolute, but you also have Belvedere and Grey Goose. You have Casa Amigos, but you also have 1942 and Casa Azul. So we feel that the same is true about RTDs. You should have products that cater to these consumers, and if you are serious about quality conscious products, we believe bottle service is the best solution. We have 10 different cocktails as well, going over categories of vodka, tequila, whiskey, gin, rum, brandy, and cognac. For all those reasons, we're here today, and we appreciate your time and your consideration.
Give this back to you, Michael. There you go.
Thank you.
Slide over here to where that X is. There we go. Perfect. Taylor, Michael outlined price, value, and quality consumers. Do you see quality, given that bottle service is in this space, do you see quality as having a pretty significant runway in comparison to the other two?
Nice to meet you in person.
Yes.
A recurring theme here.
Well, yeah, so RTS, like something that you can serve a couple of times, screw it back on. The quality is elevating really fast, and I think sometimes the customer doesn't necessarily see that that price point, you know. And so I think there's an opportunity to really show the quality. I think it's all categories are kind of booming, and I'm with you. RTD is here to stay, like for sure. And I think you have really great products. I love the flavors. We got a set of 4 to taste through, and I think there is a case to be made about the SKU assortment and the brand blocking. And I know you have 10 flavors. That's awesome. I think if maybe you're curating exactly what you pitch to retail, but that's a lot, right? RTD is here, but it's still challenging to carve that space in. And sometimes just like really pushing through with like 3 winners, like that can be like that can do a lot to really like build the brand, push the quality, and have it be something that a customer like understands and recognizes, and then you can kind of like innovate and then innovate year after year. That's really my only feedback. The flavors and the balance is like super on point. Took me a minute to understand that says bottle service, not gonna lie.
Fair enough.
But yeah, other than that, like I really did like the flavors.
Quickly to your points. One, our new logo does say crafted cocktails underneath it. So thank you.
Okay.
You hit that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that we are curating the flavors that go into each retailer. We don't intend to or always launch with all 10 of them. Some retailers pick them all up. We also have a 375 in addition to 100, so it's a multi-pour. So you can taste one and then build into the next, and it's a value proposition, so it's cheaper per cocktail. You know, we feel that you should start with at least 4, which is a vodka, tequila, whiskey, and a gin, and maybe if you wanted to add one of the other spirit bases, but that way you're catering to each of those main spirits. But I agree with you, and we didn't intend to keep all 10, but our sales average from 8% to 12% of total sales amongst all 10. So we thought we'd have a dog or two, but at the end of the day, there wasn't really a dog. They really were different interests out there, so we kept them.
Taylor, can I ask you for your thoughts on bottle services' success in getting into hotels, airlines, and event spaces, and whether or not that gives you confidence that it could succeed even greater at retail?
Yeah, I think it's a really good start, and like even I had went to a super nice restaurant in Chicago a few weeks ago, and like literally complimentary, they came over and they poured a cocktail. Like I think it was like Belvedere or something like that. Like I could see a really, really cool play, like kind of an elevated liquid to lips opportunity where you go to some of the nicer restaurants and like they offer you this in like an RTD format. I think that could be a really cool play for you.
Thank you. We're actually doing that at Zero Bond in New York. There's
I live right next door, and I will go.
Tables, and because they don't have the bar, they can serve you one of our cocktails at the table rather than you having to call for the drink or ask for it.
So yeah, I think there's a lot, and then just I mean, I think that's obviously like a great initial kind of proof of concept with the places you've already. And we were talking about that. We see that's your play is like the hospitality groups, the higher end restaurants, stuff like that. The only bit of feedback would be I love the signature. I think we all really like this signature. It kind of reminds me of like a really cool bottle of bourbon or whiskey or anything like that. I would just put something on there to show who that person is because we didn't know who this was, right?
We do that on the website.
Yeah, but on the bottle, if like someone doesn't,
The label is just not large enough, unfortunately.
just
But,
even like
I
something small, yeah, so that we knew he or she was of some prominence. If there's a signature on there, and I like that. I don't really see that often on the RTD side, pretty much ever. But just putting a little bit of like a recognition of why that person matters and why you get in that space,
Thank you.
would be worthwhile.
Grace, you get the last word for the judging panel.
I thought they were really, really good. The spicy maid, which I didn't totally understand the connotation, was delicious. So I think it was one of the favorite things that I tried all day. And my only suggestion was that the Cosmo tasted a lot like raspberry, and I wished it would have said something like a raspberry Cosmo or something like that, because it was delicious, but I love raspberry and it didn't taste like a Cosmo.
Thank you. Well, the 1934 Cosmo, which is what it's called, is the original recipe, had raspberry and not cranberry.
Okay.
And so all of our cocktails stay true to the original
Okay.
recipes, and we didn't deviate as we wanted to stay down the lane. And so that's why it's raspberry, but that's a good
It was
point.
delicious.
People are used to having cranberry.
It was delicious. So nothing about the liquid.
Yeah.
It was just a little
Thank you so
surprising.
much.
They were really, really great.
Thank you.
Well done, Michael. Thank